This week on the Better Golf Academy podcast, Hanju talked about using your identity to power your breakthrough. I want to give you a little bit more of an actionable plan of how you can do that. But if we haven't met yet, my name is Jonathan, and I am a 7 handicap right now, and I've known Hanju for decades. We'll talk more about that in future episodes. Right now, with 2 kids, 6-year-old, 8-year-old, I am squarely in the casual golfer category of golfers. I wish I had the time and energy and, didn't have to work so I could be in the competitive amateur category, but more on that later. I am a casual golfer, and if you missed that, I'll link it in the description down below. The 10-second version is that according to Olympic gold medalist and performance coach Lanny Bassam, whenever you need to perform, there are 3 forces at play, and one of them is called your self-image. Now, he says that your self-image and your performance go hand in hand. And because you can control your self-image, you can therefore control your performance like it's a muscle, like you can call on it whenever you need it. You know what some of you guys might be saying? That's a bunch of fluff. You can't just show up at a golf course for your first time, step up on the first tee and just hit a bomb, split the fairway. That's just not realistic. But if you're in the bucket where I am and I'm trying to get out of, like if you've been practicing for years and years and years and the practice works on the range, works even in practice rounds, but doesn't translate to a competitive environment, then you might be in for a treat. That phenomenon where you can perform when it's like a practice round or casual round, but it doesn't translate to a tournament. Like maybe, on a casual round, you can drain 5 putts with your eyes closed, but then when you get to a tournament, you're like sweating over a 4-foot putt and you can't make it. That's a telltale sign that you need to work on your self-image when it comes to golf. And I know that because that's where I am now. So today I want to cover the how. Like, how do you actually practice your self-image? What do you actually have to do? How do you work on your confidence? Like, what are the X's of, give me the steps. So in this book right here, With Winning in Mind, Lanny Bassam outlines the 8 steps, and he calls it the directive affirmation. I don't know. I couldn't think of a more appropriate, relevant name, so that's what I'm going to go with today. It's 8 steps, and we're going to do it right now. All right, I'm gonna do this real time with you guys. I hope you guys will join me and put this into practice, because in 3 months, we're going to see if this thing works. All right, there are 8 steps. I'm going to throw it up here on the screen. What you're going to need is 5 5x7 index cards. If you don't have them, I'm just going to use some Post-its here. You're going to need enough room to write like a few sentences. And let's do it. So step 1 right here is defining the goal. And I'm going to shoot for the stars right here. Okay, so my goal is going to be to become a scratch golfer in 3 months. All right. Sorry, I kind of covered 2 steps right there. So step 1 is going to be define the goal. So for me, the goal is going to be to become a scratch golfer. All right. Step 2 is set a time frame. So for me, I am following the footsteps of your host here, Hanju. He passed the PAT. I can't let him pass it and me not pass it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to have to at least match him, if not surpass him. And so my time frame, like my first PAT here in the Pacific Northwest is April 29th. It's exactly 3 months away from today. And so my time frame is going to be 3 months. That's the second step. Third step is the personal pay value. So my personal pay value is, I got a few of them. I'm going to pass the PAT. I hope to kind of unlock the PGA golf management program and kind of work up the ranks, level 1, 2, 3, etc. In order to do that, I need to pass the PAT. I need to, proof is in the pudding, put my mouth where my game is, or put my game where my mouth is, whatever the saying is. And so that's one pay value, is passing the PAT. But, more relevant to me is, just speaking with authority, speaking with credibility, like when I say something here or in anywhere that is related to golf, just to be able to know like that is coming from a place of credibility. I'm saying these things because I have gone through it, and I think that's pretty self-explanatory. So PAT, so passing the PAT, credibility, and then I think the third one is just self-satisfaction. Like there's intrinsic reward for me in just knowing that I'm a scratch golfer. And so, I almost can't say that with a straight face, because my time, like I mentioned, I have 2 kids, I have a family life, I have a full-time job. And so I know this is a really lofty goal, but I'm going to roll with it. All right. If I don't get it, like, it's okay. Like we can, that's the thing with this. Like we can always, readjust, re-aim, right? Lanny says one of 2 things is going to happen. A, you're going to either achieve the goal, or B, you're going to have to get a new self-image, right? So maybe I'll come back here with a different self-image to be a 2 handicap. But again, I'm going big. I'm going to go for scratch. Okay. So third was the pay value. What is the pay value to you? Like, is it for bragging rights? Is it so you can progress in your career? Is it so you can make a career out of competitive golf? You're going to have to define that for yourself. All right. Step 4 is outline a plan. And so for me, my plan is going to be somewhat multidimensional. And I think golf is an interesting one to do this with because ideally, well, maybe you would want this to be a little bit more focused. Like, maybe your goal is like, I make every, 6-footer and in, for example, but I'm going to just take this broad and big. I'm going to just say scratch golfer. And so anyways, my plan, I have several steps. I'm going to run a mental program daily of a tee shot, of an approach, and a putt, sinking a putt. Now, this really works for me in my lifestyle right now because it's not practical for me to get out on a golf course every day. Even every week, sometimes it's a struggle to get out to the course, like even to just putt for 30 minutes. And so for me, coming from high school competitive golf where I drilled hours and hours and hours, like I know the skill of making a putt is within my body. It's within my capability. And I can run a mental model like of 3 shots. That's super realistic. I can do that multiple times a day. And so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to focus on the process, not the outcome. So whenever I catch myself on the course, thinking about like, oh, if I birdie this hole, then blah, 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 like I'm going to shift, like I'm going to go to the process. We'll do another video on what a process actually is, because I know, we need a level set there, right? Like everybody's process is a little different. So what do we mean by that? We'll cover that in a future video. And then every time I actually do this in real life, every time I hit a green, hit a fairway, hit it close to the flag, make a 5-footer, I'm going to say to myself, that's like me. That's just what I do. That's like me. I drain 5-footers. Whether it's for par, birdie, or whatever, that's like me. That's just what I do. All right. And then if I don't produce one of these desired outcomes, then I'll just forget it. I'll go on to the next shot. All right. So I feel like this is a really solid plan. I'm going to go to the 5th step, which is reiterating what you said in step 1, but in present tense. So now it's step 5 for me is I am a scratch golfer. All right. We're getting to the gritty. This is where the rubber meets the road. It's a little tedious, maybe, for you. I mean, it might take a little bit of thought, but let's grow together. Let's do it. Okay, now after writing those 5 Post-its, your hand should be sore. And don't shortcut this step, because if you're serious about improvement, you're going to do this, right? You saw me do it. You're going to do it too. Step 6 was to make 5 copies. We did that. Step 7 is to put this in 5 prominent places, such as your bathroom mirror, refrigerator door, on your desk, computer terminal, etc. So let's do that right now. Here are my 5 cards. Scratch golfer, stretch golfer, pay value, etc. So I'm going to take this first one. I'm going to put it right here on my workstation, right where I can see it every day. All right, last and final step. Step 8, read and visualize your directive affirmation each time you come to a key point. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory what that's going to look like, but basically, whenever you come to a key point, I'm going to close my eyes. I'm going to imagine stepping up to the first tee, placing my ball down with the tee, blue tees, swinging a smooth swing, hitting it in the middle of the fairway, and feeling the breeze and just saying, that's like me. That's what I do. Then I got a 130-yard shot in, maybe some wind, maybe some elevation gain or loss, hitting a smooth pitching wedge, ball goes in the air, it's right at the pin, boom, stuck 10 feet. And then next shot is a 10-foot putt. I'm not sure if it's right to left, left to right, but it's 10 feet. I'm reading the green. Maybe I have a hard time reading it in the beginning, but I finally get to it. I line up the putt. I'm focusing on my start line. I put a smooth stroke on it. Boom, it rolls. It's rolling straight. It starts on my start line. It breaks just as I anticipated. It drops in the hole. Boom. That's like me. That's what I do. All right. So those are the 8 steps. That's where rubber meets the road. That's where the champions are going to be separated from the amateurs. All right. So put this into practice, become a champion, unless that's not your identity, right? Let's be realistic. So spoiler alert, I know this works. I have 2 pieces of hard evidence for you. One, Lanny Bassam wrote this book. He's an Olympic gold medalist shooter, right? So unless this is a hoax to make money, which I don't think it is, because, Lanny's Hanju talked to him, right? Hanju, he's an honest guy, right? But more personally, after I read this book, I didn't do the full-on directive affirmation, but I did go shoot around in which I shot 5 over 76. It's pretty respectable for me, right? I don't practice much nowadays. I'm family life, full-time job. But it's not the score that stood out in that moment. It was the fact that I overcame this thing that I've been struggling with for years, for decades. And that is a really weird phenomenon, maybe interesting. I don't know, maybe an interesting case study for a sports psychologist. But that is, when I'm out playing and, it's with friends, sometimes we put a wager on it. Point is, there's pressure to make a putt. If it's for par, I have no problems making it. Like 10-footer, 8-footer, 6-footer, I feel confident. Like, it's like, okay, like I know this is going in. But when it's the same exact putt, maybe not the same exact, but when it's the same putt, similar putt for birdie, my make percentage of those same exact putts for birdie are way less. And I suspect that it's because of this whole self-image thing. When it's for birdie, I'm like, who are you to make a birdie? Like, you don't practice. It's been years since you've practiced. You're a family man. You sit in front of the computer. Like, you don't shoot under par. But after reading this book and taking this to the course, when I had a birdie putt, I made 2 birdies that day, and they both came from putts that were 10 feet. And I can't explain to you like how good it feels to stand over a putt for birdie and feel just as hopeful that it's like, no, I'm a baller. Like, I make birdie putts, and just shifting that mindset from like, oh no, you don't make these, to like, I'm a baller, I make these. And then actually making it is like, Lanny is up to something. He knows something, And imagine if I could implement that every round on command. That's where we're going, guys. Maybe you've heard this stuff before, where it's like, yeah, I know, just have some positive self-talk, right? But I don't think that gets the heart of this, Like, this is self-image. This is who you are. You were made to drain birdie putts. Maybe you already tell yourself like, oh yeah, I can drain this putt. But, deep down inside, you don't believe that. It doesn't matter from now on. It doesn't matter. You can put these 8 steps into practice, and you can actually work on your self-image. You can actually improve it, and therefore improve your performance. Isn't that crazy? So to finish off here, I hope that by identifying your like golf identity, that you'll have some clarity. Like, maybe you thought about these things before, but not in the terms that Hanju put them in. But I hope that now that you have this kind of boilerplate of like, oh yeah, what is my golf identity and where do I want to be? And with these 8 steps, that, maybe your clarity is like, hey, I'm a weekend warrior and I'm fine with that. I just don't care to prioritize improving my golf game. Like, after all, what is the whole point of it? Totally fine. That's your clarity. That's your reality. Like, doesn't apply, right? But if you're kind of like me, you've put in the time, you've put in the range time, you have the skills to do it. You're just missing that unlock. I'm excited for you. All right. So I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions or any stories that you'd like to share, please feel free to drop it in the comment section down below so that we can all benefit from this positive vibe and content. If it's your first time here, you're not already subscribed, or maybe if you've been here before and you're like, oh, he hasn't posted for a while, We plan to revive this channel and blow things up here, make waves. So please consider hitting subscribe. And, in 3 months' time, I'm going to be back here and I'm going to update you on how I did on my PAT. With the power of self-image and the ability to actually practice it, put it into practice and work on it, I'm confident that I will be a scratch golfer in 3 months' time. For me, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And the crazy part about it is that I'm not going to go spend hours on the range or on the putting green or chipping green because I straight up don't have that time. It's all going to be mental. I already know my body can hit those shots. All right. Make it a great day, and we'll catch you on the next one. Bye.